The two strongest giants in the world meet at a battlefield, but suddenly an even more dangerous creature joins their single combat. This is the Godzilla vs Kong film, and it really takes your breath away. We can see Skull Island. This is where Kong, the last of his Titan race, lives. Seems like he is totally content with his life. A little girl is making her way through the shrubbery with a monkey doll in her hands. Then he gets up, throws up a tree trunk, and the sky above him literally splits. We are learning a chilling truth. The climate on Skull Island has changed. To preserve Kong's life, the Monarch organization constructed an artificial biodome for him. Dr. Andrews is the project leader. She gets informed that in a couple of months Kong's dome will become unfit for living. Kong needs to be relocated urgently. But to where? And most importantly, how? Dr. Andrews explains that there can't be two alpha monsters in the world. Godzilla is already hiding in the seas. As soon as he senses Kong, he will immediately come to destroy him. During this very scene, we learn that the girl's name is Gia. She is Dr. Andrews' adopted deaf-mute daughter. Also, we meet one more character. It's Bernie, a weirdo and a fan of conspiracy theories. He has his own podcast in which he speaks about how he became an employee of Apex Cybernetics. He did it in order to expose a conspiracy. What conspiracy? Bernie doesn't even know that himself. Seems like he is just paranoid. Officially, Apex Cybernetics is a technology and robotics company. Walter Simmons is the company's CEO. Bernie tries to hack the company's database, but suddenly, evacuation is announced. We can see Godzilla's fins in the sea. Seems like some activities in Apex Cybernetics have attracted this dangerous titan. Godzilla is destroying a building. However, Bernie survives. He sees a mysterious glowing device in the crack of the wall. The entire world talks about the attack of the savage Godzilla. There is only one person who doesn't believe this, and it's Madison. She has already encountered Godzilla and other titans. Godzilla saved her then. Now, Madison is a fan of Bernie's podcasts. She believes that Apex Cybernetics is hiding something terrible. This could explain why Godzilla specifically attacked their laboratory. Alas, Madison's father doesn't believe her. Moving on to Nathan Lynn's home. Once he worked for Monarch and he was a Hollow Earth theorist. This is where the Titans rose to the surface from. Walter Simmons himself comes to Nathan and breaks the important news to him. Apex Cybernetic satellites have detected a source of some energy in Earth's center. If Simmons reaches it, he will be able to create a weapon against Godzilla to protect humanity. Nathan explains that it's impossible to get into Hollow Earth and remain alive. At a certain point, the force of gravity reverses. The last expedition team simply crashed, but Simmons is optimistic about it. His corporation has built crafts capable of withstanding the gravitational leap, and he needs Nathan to lead the new expedition. There is only one problem. Hollow Earth is very big. How will one find the source of power in it? Fortunately, Nathan has a plan. He goes to Dr. Andrews. The thing is that the energy of Hollow Earth sustains the Titans. This means that a Titan can lead people to the source. Nathan convinces the Doctor to lend Kong as a guide. The dome is falling apart anyway, whereas Kong's real home is in the Hollow Earth. He will get a suitable habitat and people will get a power source to protect themselves from Godzilla. Kong is loaded onto a barge and chained. He is taken to Antarctica. This is where the entry to Hollow Earth is. Dr. Andrews isn't happy with Nathan's plan. The dome no longer protects Kong, which means Godzilla can sense him at any moment. An unknown woman comes to the barge. She is Maya Simmons, the daughter of the CEO of Apex Cybernetics. She boasts about crafts that are designed to take people to Hollow Earth. The anti-gravity engines are so powerful that one of them can power all of Las Vegas for a whole week. Gia wakes up in the middle of the night. The deaf-mute girl is feeling Kong's heartbeat. Gia is running towards him, and something incredible happens next. Turns out Kong and Gia understand each other perfectly well. The girl taught the Titan sign language. Now she is the only one who can communicate with him. All the adults are shocked. In the meantime, Madison along with a friend Josh set out to find Bernie. The podcast host is one of the few who believe that Godzilla is innocent. Turns out Bernie is paranoid and lives in a basement and fears that he is under surveillance. He says that he saw a strange device in the wreckage of Apex Cybernetics. Josh doesn't trust Bernie. Seems like the guy went insane after losing his wife. Bernie is still carrying her gift, a hip flask with whiskey in his pocket. But Madison doesn't have any other allies. She decides to trust Bernie and together with him sneak into Apex Cybernetics. While Kong has fish for breakfast, Dr. Andrews tells Gia's story to Nathan. A hurricane destroyed Skull Island. Only one deaf-mute girl survived out of all the indigenous people. Kong saved her. This is why such a strong bond formed between them. Meanwhile, Gia senses strange vibrations. An alarm goes off. The girl tells the adults that it's because of Godzilla. Kong is sensing the other Titan and is enraged. But he is chained. Soldiers are trying to stop him, but it's futile. The two Titans finally collide. The capsized barge begins to draw water. Kong ends up underwater. He is about to drown. Seeing this, Nathan unlocks the chains and Kong releases himself. He turns the barge up and rescues people. A single combat between the Titans begins. Godzilla drags Kong underwater. The military launch depth charges in order to distract the monster. Kong emerges from the water, but this giant can hardly breathe. Nathan recalls that Godzilla reacts to vibrations. He demands the engines and guns to be shut down. Having thought that the enemy is defeated, Godzilla leaves the scene. But how will they reach Antarctica now? If the team continues the mission, Godzilla will be back. Fortunately, Nathan has an idea. In the meantime, Madison, Bernie and Josh enter the destroyed Apex Cybernetics. The mysterious object Bernie saw is no longer there, but instead, our heroes find an underground tunnel. Apex Cybernetics uses it for shipping cargo to Hong Kong. Madison and the other guys hide in a container in order to avoid being discovered by the security. Inside, they find Skullcrawler's eggs. They are monsters from Hollow Earth. Why does the corporation need them? Meanwhile, Monarch carries out Nathan's plan. Because it's unsafe to travel by sea, Kong is put to sleep and gets transported by helicopters to Antarctica. Kong regains his consciousness. Ice doesn't make him happy at all, but he doesn't want to pass through the entry to Hollow Earth either. Unfortunately though, the Titan won't last long out in the cold. Gia has to lie in order to save Kong. She says that there may be his family members in Hollow Earth. Having heard that, Kong jumps right into the tunnel. People follow him in special vehicles. In spite of the overloads, the expedition team reaches Hollow Earth. Kong dashes into his native places, but he doesn't see his relatives. However, he does see his enemies. For instance, the giant snake. Kong defeats him, but it takes considerable effort to do it. Then he confidently runs somewhere. Evidently, Nathan was right. The Titan senses the power source and heads towards it. What about Madison and her friends? They got locked up in a container and sent to Hong Kong by accident. There, they randomly run down corridors and end up in a large space. It's a testing ground. This is where Apex Cybernetics tests its secret weapons. We see a Mecha Godzilla, a giant robot operated by a human pilot. The strange object Bernie saw in the laboratory turns out to be the robot's eye. Turns out Skullcrawler eggs were needed for testing. Adult monsters are forced to fight with Mecha Godzilla. He easily defeats them and immediately switches off. Simmons doesn't have a suitable power source in order to power such a huge machine. At least, not yet. Let's return to Hollow Earth. The team follows Kong and ends up in his family's ancestral throne room. Alas, it's empty. None of the Titans have survived. The only thing Kong finds is an axe made of dorsal spikes of another Godzilla. In the meantime, Madison runs from one laboratory to another. There, she finds Ghidorah's skull. It's a monster that Godzilla has already defeated. The Apex Cybernetics scientists use the neural network of Ghidorah in order to connect the pilot to the robot. Godzilla senses Ghidorah's brain activity and swims to Hong Kong. Meanwhile, Kong finds the power source. It's the Earth's core. The Titan uses it to charge his axe. The blade starts glowing like Godzilla's fins. Sensing the core's activation, Godzilla decides to make a passage to Hollow Earth right from Hong Kong. Simmons' daughter reaches the power source. She forwards the energy signature to her father. The latter wants to copy it and power up Mechagodzilla. Simmons is thrilled. Finally, humanity has a weapon against the Titans that matches their power. The pilot is very nervous. He doesn't know how the new power source will affect the robot. Meanwhile, Kong's throne room is crumbling. Flying creatures attack the people. Seems like Nathan and the others won't survive. Suddenly, the ceiling explodes because of Godzilla's radioactive breath. The tunnel is dug. Simmons' daughter is trying to escape through it, but Kong doesn't like betrayers. He catches the craft and destroys it. What happens next? Kong's relatives aren't here. The Titan decides that he doesn't belong to Hollow Earth. He takes the axe and jumps into the tunnel. Nathan, Dr. Andrews and Gia follow him on the last remaining craft. Kong ascends to the Earth's surface. This is where he collides with Godzilla again. But now, Kong is well armed. He uses Godzilla's breath to charge the axe and strikes a crushing blow to him. In the meantime, Madison and her friends get caught and brought to Simmons. The Apex CEO doesn't understand why they are so unhappy. After all, he has created a weapon that can defeat any Titan and protect humanity. While Simmons is speaking, Godzilla regains consciousness. This time, he has no intentions of losing to Kong. The single combat ends. Godzilla roars and leaves. His enemy is defeated. At this time, Simmons orders that Mechagodzilla be activated. Something goes wrong. The control system doesn't respond to the pilot's actions. Then, who is controlling the robot? The answer is simple. The Hollow Earth energy core has awakened Ghidorah's brain. Godzilla's arch-enemy has got a new mechanical body. The first thing he uses this body for is destroying the talkative Simmons. Then, Mechagodzilla gets out of the laboratory. Ghidorah's target is Godzilla that is exhausted after the battle. Madison's friend Josh is trying to hack the robot's control system. Meanwhile, Nathan's team reaches the defeated Kong. Gia senses that his heartbeat is about to stop. A huge energy source is needed in order to restart it. And Nathan has it. It's the anti-gravity engines that can power all of Las Vegas for a week. While Godzilla is fighting, Nathan is landing the craft on Kong's chest. Shocks are delivered. Kong regains consciousness. Little Gia is explaining to him in sign language that Godzilla is not his enemy. He needs to help, otherwise humanity will be destroyed. Godzilla is almost defeated, but then Kong appears and rescues his arch-enemy. Josh fails to hack the system. Seems like now Mechagodzilla will win. Bernie says goodbye to his life and decides to drink up the whiskey his wife gave him as a gift. Seeing the hip flask, Josh finds a better use for it. He closes off the terminal with the liquid. Because of that, Ghidorah temporarily loses control of the robot. Here is their chance of survival. Titans come to their senses. Godzilla is charging Kong's axe with its radioactive breath. And what happens next is what everyone has been waiting for. Kong is roaring over the body of his defeated opponent. We see all the heroes. It seems like everyone in Nathan's and Madison's teams are safe and sound. Kong and Godzilla, however, aren't done yet. People anticipate a new single combat, but it doesn't happen. Kong drops his weapon. Godzilla leaves. They are no longer enemies. Time goes by. Dr. Andrews and Gia observe Kong again. But now he is not a beast locked under a dome. Now he is the king of Hollow Earth. Let me know in the comments who is cooler, Kong or Godzilla, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because I work hard to please you. Till next time, friends.